What is going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. Today, I've got a man that's lived many lives in Australia. We call it a jack of all trades. Um, Someone that's been a pioneer in hip hop, an NFL sports agent, and just the founder of one of the most impactful literacy foundations in America. Dr. Glenn Toby, welcome to the pod. Please elaborate on that because I'm sure I've missed a lot of things as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel, for having me. Hello, everybody in Australia and all around the world. Glad to be here. Well, I'm born in Brooklyn. I was raised in Queens. I experienced youth homelessness at 8 years old. Mother came home with my brother and I, and everything was in the street, everything we owned. From there, with love in the family, guidance, spirituality, we didn't miss much. We were never physically harmed, spiritually harmed. We actually saw it as the world was our window, wherever we travel. We got a stable home about seventh grade, all the time, bouncing around a little bit, family, friends, and the support of government. Seventh grade, I take off, go to school, senior high school 109. And then when I get to about high school, I become one of the eminent rappers and pioneers of hip hop for Queens, Mr. Sweetie G. This is just before Biz Markie and um, I'd say before the Fat Boys, Biz Markie, before even Sugar Hill Gang. I was one of the initial guys going with the kings of hip hop, which we call us the first tranche would be Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Caz, and Eddie Cheever, DJ Hollywood, of course, Infinity Machine, and Cypher Sounds and Disco Twins. And check that stuff out, hip hop lovers. From there, I didn't sign with Sugar Hill because they wanted to get my publishing. So I went into the workforce. During that time, I had the honor of working with LL Cool J, managing him with Brian Latour and Charles Fisher on that team. We did the movie. We did the TV show In the House, and this movie, the Mr. Smith album. I was part of that. And then from there, I also, in my hip hop and music career, I discovered Positive K, the rapper, David Banner, managed Saigon. From there, went into the National Football League after I stopped with hip hop for a while with Alonzo Shavers. We did over $300 million in National Football League. And I include some of that was boxing, working with Don King, and I represented, God bless his soul, O'Neal Bell, the supernova. I took him from unranked to the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, first time in 40 years. And then coming back on that side into venture capital, where I'm working with RCP. I'm a partner with them, based out of Harvard Square. And we just launched with Rakeem Vic and, of course, Brady Jackson with what we call the Winner's Circle. We're doing NIL, which is name, image, and likeness. And nobody knows this better than you, Daniel. You're always ahead of the beat. And of course, we're representing anyone that's in the National Football League, NHL, all sports. So we launched that in the last year. And along with doing the book bank, as you said, which I've been doing for 28 years with amazing people, we have a flight program that's coming up in 2 weeks where youth from the age of 15 to as much as 19 actually fly airplanes and learn about aviation. We have something called Groceries to Grow, where people who are anywhere from indigent to families who do really well, but they're just having a tough time. We provide them with food. And then we have one block at a time where we go into New York City and we tackle all five. I'm sorry, we go into that's Shelter from the Streets, where we go into New York City during the holiday time and we bring food, clothing, shelter, words of inspiration. And one block at a time is what we do in several cities throughout the country, cleaning it up. And that's what I've been doing, and that's my story, people. And every day, we are striving to do better. That's what I'm talking about on my new TED Talk that I'm excited about, how to heal. And I
That's amazing.
reveal ways you can peel back what you need to do to get ahead.
Wow, it's
There you
amazing.
go,
Well,
Dan. Back to you.
I was gonna talk about your first TED talk, so I listened to that. And actually, funny as you say, I did stumble across it before actually finding you and discovering you as well,
Wow.
which was amazing. And I love how you bring it back to sort of your trauma and your life with like the struggles that you had. But what kind of captured me was the fact when you started talking about, I guess, having the fame, having all the money and stuff, but still not getting that kind of satisfaction in life until you broke out and started reaching out to community groups and stuff. And I find that really powerful personally. So one, I got to credit that, but two, how can, because I got a younger audience and I feel like a lot of us are very much focused on that instant gratification that I talk about. And a lot of people want to obviously make that money and feel like their lives will change with that. Can you give us some kind of wisdom into that? Because obviously having that gives you that sense of freedom and that kind of ability to do things that you want to do and also have that sense of peace. But I feel like it becomes more than that. And I feel like you're a proof and a living example of that.
No, I'm honored with those kind words. You know, everybody, I want to say today, everybody wants money fast, success fast. They want the cheat codes, they want the hack codes, everything. That's what it is. But the difference between a meal that is microwaved and one that is baked in the oven with proper preparation, fresh vegetables, fresh ingredients, well prepared, plated properly, that's what life is. If that success comes faster than your, if the money comes faster than the wisdom, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. It's not how much you've done and built and given and amassed, it's how many greater people. If you're great, if you have a sense of greatness, a sense of purpose, if you were traveling and you were the one tree in the middle of an acres and acres of land, whether it's hundreds of acres or 2 or 3 acres, if you were the only tree and the fruit from your tree falls to the ground and it germinates and the seeds that come from the fruit, it starts to create other trees. There's other growth. The magnanimity and the power is not in the money, it's in the man, the mountain, and the mission. And I speak of man as mankind. You know, we're talking about the rudiment elements of life, right? So here's the microwave, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, done real quick. Here's that beautiful oven. It's baked in, everything goes in, all those recipes. That's the same thing in life. What you put in is what you get out. And as fast as you can earn it, you may not be fast enough to learn it. And somebody can come in and take what you have that you don't even know the value of it. You've put no research in it. You haven't experienced any of the joy because it's all just keeping score. You're looking at the scoreboard. You know this, Daniel. We've seen the NFL players where the guy goes to the ball and he catches it and he celebrates before he gets to the end zone and fumbles it. That's what's going to happen every time. We have to meet the timeline, and the timelines have to have measurable actions, values, and purpose in order to add up to be sustainable. Because if it has no worth and it's spent like the money spent, nobody else wants it, then you have nothing to transfer. And quite frankly, if you have nothing to give someone that's not transferable, you don't want it in the first damn place.
So that's wow. That's just yeah. I can see the literacy and the preach that comes through that. But very very powerful words, and I think something that will bring a lot of value to people. And that's what I love about what you do is that not only are you a pioneer in so many different aspects of life, you bring that to community and you share that to the world. And I think that's really powerful. You talk to me sort of about kind of your upbringing and values. Something that I did find is like, how do you find? And it's a powerful question. How does God kind of work in this for you?
Well, I think we need to, God's speaking to us all the time. So, what you are in Australia, you follow world sports. You're so knowledgeable. You can recognize greatness. I recognize the talent in you. I know what this show can do. I know what this show is doing. It's 9 a.m. where you are right now. For me, it's 7:50. It's 9 a.m. in the morning for you, 7 o'clock at night for me. The difference is the time. There's no difference in the connection. There's no difference in the purpose. There's no difference in how we're going to serve this global audience. So God is always there. We have to listen long enough so that it's loud enough. When God whispers, that's when he's really delivering. It's in the whispers, it's in the silent teachings, the whisper of the pages of it, if it's the Torah, if it's the Quran, if it's the Bible, if it's any book. When you're turning those pages, they sound like this. That's the whisper, that's the wisdom. When you're sleeping and we think it's a dream, that's the whisper. When we're in the unconscious realm, sleeping and we're in these ideas, the neuropathic transformation of energy and the brain healing and regenerating, all of that is the silence. God is in everything and everywhere we are, if we can find it, if we can turn off the noise, if we can be by ourselves for not just an hour. Can you be by yourself for a day? And I teach that in the 4 boxes, the the ebook that drops in 2 weeks, giving it to everybody for free. Those 4 boxes: the healing, the revealing, and the sealing of one's fate, what God had given us to work with. Who and what and how do we share and distribute this? What we're giving away, we're really giving away. We can't do it like a yo-yo or a boomerang. Give away our talent, our wisdom, our love, our joy, and expect it to come back. We have to give freely. The gift of giving is immeasurable. So if you want to live long, you have to give strong. That's it. And God will find you because he'll find your good works. You know, we're finding God. I know people that are atheists. I know people that are agnostic. I know people that are just in pain. And I've never heard anybody say, Bentley, when they're dying. I've never seen a guy run over to their dying parent or child and go, Barclays Bank, Citibank. I've heard them say God, mother, dad. People get shot. They say, Mom. They say sometimes dad. But I've only heard people say, oh my God and God. Even people who are devil worshippers that don't believe in the Lord. People who are in prison. Many of these people who are incarcerated for the rest of their life. They find a piece of God. Do they carry it and hold it? If you're holding God in your life, others will come to the Holy Grail. If you have a piece of God and it's not to be transferred, then there's purpose in your breathing in your life and you're fulfilling others. And the universe needs you in the cog of chain. It's not just DNA. Doing now, always, that kind of DNA. I'm doing it right now, and it's always going to be sustainable through the people I'm with.
I love it. You have such a way with words. Oh wow,
Thank you.
it's great. But I think we can sort of transition into sort of obviously what the huddle is about, and we talk about sports, but we go through a deeper meaning of that in our lives. So obviously, starting with hip hop, I can see the Straight Outta Compton thing at the back as well. Big fan of the movie. I wanted to know what was your involvement on a.
So I managed Jason Mitchell, who was one of the leads, and he played Eazy-E. So I was his manager
Yes,
for a few years, and he was on The Shy, and he's done so many incredible films. Advised him. I had the honor of also representing other actors. Jason Weaver, who played Michael Jackson and has been in other movies. The great Lance Reddick, who was in so many HBO shows. And yeah, that's it in terms of that. And I'm currently, it's only you would ask this, Daniel. Such good timing for you to tell you about The Courage to Thrive, a new film that I'm executive producing about an amazing lady, Amin Samuel. She was the first African American Navy pilot. And she didn't just transcend equity, purpose, power, and principle through the armed forces, which we're talking about a war. And she wasn't pushing through the war through just patriotism, defeating the enemy, just winning and having this mindset. She had a unified mindset, and she didn't lose her spirituality. And she's thriving now as a professional coach and an entrepreneur. And this film is coming out. It is amazing. We've just won 6 laurels, and we're continuing to win, doing a lot of screenings. And it's called The Courage to Thrive. It's in my IMBD. You can find more about that as well. So that's something I'm excited about. And, there's so many ways for us to transfer our power, our talent, and our ideals. People, pick up a pen, draw. You can say, it doesn't make sense. I don't like it. Keep going. If you sing, if you talk, if it's how you dress and the expression of your clothes, you could be walking through the store. I love that yellow shirt you have on today, ma'am. Why did you wear it? My mother's favorite. It's just an exchange, people. We have to die greater than we lived. Live every second of your life. Make the world better. We're not really alone. Somebody's looking for you. You may not want to be bothered with people. You can make a record. You can do a blog. You can go help some volunteer. express yourselves while we're alive. The gift of life is just priceless. And I'll tell you something. If we don't practice living, we're going to actually just practice dying.
So true. We'll definitely link that movie into the description for sure. When does it come out? Do you know when it comes out here in Australia?
I will find that out and keep you posted because I've been checking you guys out. I tune in. I get the repeats on YouTube and follow through. So
Yeah,
we'll be in touch, brother, for
we're,
sure.
we're, we're pretty far, but we're around, so that's awesome. So when did like sport sort of get transitioned into this? How did sport become something that could be as a reality as well? And how did you manage to balance all these things as well? Because I ask because I find myself going into 2 and 3 different things, and I think it's amazing to have that and also have that kind of diversity. So how did sport become that consideration and part of this portfolio that you've got?
Well, for sport, I've met a gentleman by the name of Alonzo Shavers. And Zoe was a young sports agent. I was doing really well, thriving well, just came off the LL Cool J campaign, was working with David Banner, and he came to me with an investment opportunity. And I took the speed, the sexiness, and the creativity and the independence of music and matched it with the very firm, focused power of sports. And we put that together and it exploded. The sports I played was just pickup sports, or we call it sandlot. We're just guys in the neighborhood or playing in the field for fun. But I was able to bring some creativity to it and coming in not trying to be the expert, just trying to operate in an expert manner allowed me to have a different view of things. Whether it was doing Asante's $60 million deal, whether it was Damian Robinson from the Jets, and you remember Hurley when he pulled the helmet, the face guard during Monday Night Football, or God bless Josh Evans and so many other players that I've had a chance to help build their careers, protect their careers, increase wealth, preserve their capital, and help them move into other spaces. So sports has been amazing to me. It represents spirituality as well for good athletes. A true winner is someone that sustains losses. In order to win, you have to lose. And all champions are professional losers. Not they, we, and you watching and you listening, and Daniel, we have lost at such perilous heights and moments in our life. We have had such sustained losses that at many times I'm sure we didn't want to get back up again. But once you start getting up, it becomes a muscle memory. The spirit, the mind, the body all come into what we call homeostasis, where the mind, the body, and the soul are one. Sports represents it when it's played well, and true champions are winning not just for themselves, but for others as well.
So true. And I feel like it always gets overlooked, especially in our modern media. There's so much pressure to perform. There's so much pressure to succeed. If you do fail, it's put onto the whole universe, and we kind of just get all that. Especially now with social media, it's more prominent nowadays. So how do you kind of, and if you're doing it now, and sort of in the past, it must have been a bit different. But how do you seen it change from back then in those times where those things weren't as common to now, where we're starting to see more of it with social media and everything that I've mentioned?
It's been really tough. If you look at the emergence of the new sports, no one knows this better than you. More recently, the United States Superior Courts have sanctioned and approved that the universities can now pay
Hmm.
student athletes directly. So if you look at it on a macroeconomic level, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that are available to people from the age of 17 to 27. With this emergence of money is an emergence of opportunity. Name, image, and likeness. Kid's wearing a watch or some nice clothes, or he's driving a certain car. He's becomes a pitchman. He's an advertiser. He's a communicator. He has to deal with finance. He's going to deal with KPI to see if he continues to keep having the honor of being a spokesperson. So there's such a dynamic in the world of sports now. We've never seen what or where it is like this. We don't know how long this is going to last. Is it going to last? Is it going to break up? Will it just be professional sports in a unified manner? There's so many ways to look at it. And technology, to your point, it can be an asset to where people are using it for recovery. A lot of times when You have to rehab. They have all these machines, and for the legs, the head, the brain, people can intuitively study on the computer, but also how much distraction is there? These kids are on Instagram, or there's always something new. The screen time on the cell phone, this guy's supposed to be studying game film and researching and trying to enhance himself, but now he's managing his $1 million portfolio at 19. I mean, sometimes the devil's in the digital. We'll find out.
It's crazy how you look into that, and it's not something that ever gets spoken about in that sense. And when you really put it like that, it is really hard for a student athlete to kind of manage all those things, but also understand kind of what they're doing as well. It's kind of that like ignorance is a bliss sort of thing in that aspect as well. I'd have to kind of go into more, I guess, stuff that happens after sports. So obviously, these athletes have a window of about 10 to 15 years, probably making a lifelong money. Here in Australia, it is a little bit different in our leagues. A lot of people only have that 10-year window and they have to go back to doing normal life and normal work because the money that they're getting is not enough. How do you prefer for those sort of athletes? Because I could imagine you probably deal with athletes that don't have that lengthy careers that can get as much money as certain superstars and whatnot.
Interestingly enough, again, the average professional athlete here in America either has goes bankrupt or has economic issues and financial struggles within 4 years,
And no one
generally
talks
out of the
about it.
league. No
No
one
one talks about
discusses it.
Yeah.
Many of those people struggle, and if they are a revered athlete, they can always go into public life, whether it's selling, going to Wall Street if they're really intelligent and they have a academic prowess about them, or a gift for numbers or salesmanship. They can go in any form. Some are creatives, some get into music, film, and other things. But being a popular American icon always gives you the opportunity for generally autograph signing, going to shows, appearances, and having opinions. So they do really well. It's the athlete that gets injured. It's the person that doesn't make good communication with their core community, where they're going to go back to live and what they're building with. So we try to provide them with the best in class and preparation for tax, investment, asset protection, and of course, leaving a legacy for family and friends. That's generally the first place that we do, is to protect the assets of the athlete, protect their personal intellectual assets, how they look, speaking engagements, products, businesses they want to go in. And then lastly, the legacy of their life, which would lead the world with something better and have a good story. That's the goal.
Wow, it's a lot. It's so detailed and stuff. And how did you sort of grow into that and kind of as you continue to do it, like understand those intricacies and whatnot? Um,
I would say a lot of it was, I had an amazing upbringing. My grandmother, my mother, uncles, aunts taught us, just the core principles and the values of life. And then along the way, having some good mentors and listening. I talk a lot, but I was listening. You can't tell. Sometimes I talk so much, but it's stuck. Some people do all of the listening and can't put it to work. It's like someone that had this big library with tons of books and all kind of computers and apps, and get all the coaching and still can't get the job done. So I think for me, it's been looking at other examples from history. If you look at a lot of the leading men, whether in film, television, politics, religion, 75% of them have fallen because of women, lust, love, or being led in the wrong space, betraying their own families, their marriages, their community, or themselves. And then the other times are people who have been too aggressive, like the Battle of Troy, or the Civil War, or any war. I mean, these internal wars that we struggle with ourselves are enough. But if you look at the legacy of life, the history of life, we can borrow from those things. That's why the Book Bank Foundation is so important. 28 years of feeding and taking care of the lost, the lonely, and the forgotten. And you can donate or see what we're doing at thebbf.org, because we do believe education, or a lack of, is a disease, and it's the first step to mental illness, incarceration, economic divide, discrimination, and all these other things. It is wisdom, it is being wise that will provide us the rise. so we can tell these other girls and guys that we don't have to be shy. You can be fly. We can do it if we get to it.
Love it. And you've just segmented this perfectly into the next kind of section, and that was to deep dive the Book Bank Foundation. So, kind of, what was that spark that led you to that? I'm guessing all this experience and all this wisdom is thrown into this book. I'd love to get a copy and read it one day. So, something that I'm definitely going to do after this. But give us a deep dive for those that you're wanting to read this book.
Well, the thing for me was I did really well, having the house, the cars, travel, the lifestyle. And I sat there one day and said, hey, I've done all these things. My grandmother's not here anymore. Um, what will the world think of me? What is the next best challenge? Being a broker, being an agent, being an artist, competing in every way, number one records, getting records placed, satisfying clients who didn't do enough for the soul. Then I looked right behind me and looked at the trail that I had traveled and said that it wasn't me that brought me here. It was the ancestors, it was the prayers, it was the work, it was the people that had mercy and empathy for me and people that saw value in me. And I wanted to do more for me than they did for me. And the most I could ever do for me is what I do for everybody else.
And do you believe that there is a hidden superpower in these unserved communities that you are going to?
Well, it's funny enough to say the greatest. You know where the greatest amount of talent is on this planet?
I would say it in the most hardest places.
You mean like trend wise or popular?
No, like
With
the opposite.
in the hood where people are
People are struggling.
disenfranchised, don't
The
have money,
Yes,
trailer park hoods, and everybody
like
just suffering. It's
I
not in the
yeah,
mainstay of America,
I
right?
can't speak for American hoods, but I can speak for the world and say anywhere that's struggling, because you go in a place where, and my family came from Albania, which is pretty poor. When they migrated here, they had nothing, and then they came, and then they had lived their Australian dream and stuff. And I always find that people in kind of disfortunate communities just tend to have that more strength and willpower, and that's where the talent comes out because they know what's the worst.
That's true. Th- That is the finest talent does come from there. The greatest talent's in the grave. The people that didn't reach their potential, mental illness, drugs, depression, lack of opportunity, health, born into a situation that they couldn't recover from, not having opportunities, procrastinating, being mean, being evil, being selfish, not seeing the world bigger than it is. A lot of these people die. There is so much talent, priceless, undiscovered, undelivered, unperformed talent in the grave. This is why I say the living, live every second of your life. And don't try to do it all in one day. Don't live your life in a second. Live every second of your life.
I was going to ask as well, what is the legacy that you hope? Is there anything else that you want to leave behind with this book?
Well, I think it's the book of life. And I do have another book. This book is called The Asian Power League, which you guys can get right now.
I've heard about
It
this one.
is a novel. Yeah, this was a novel. And it's about a gentleman by the name of Michael Hai Young, who is a genius that goes to college. His family's from Asia. I don't say which country because it's up to you because it's fiction.
Mhm.
And then he goes to the university and people don't treat him so well, a little bit of bias, a little bit of racism, a little bit of cynicism. And what he does is they give him these crappy companies when he's working at a hedge fund company. It ends up becoming billions of dollars. As he's doing this during his internship, he goes to university, a school like a Harvard or a Princeton, comes out, goes overseas during the summer, meets with his cousin, and his cousin's in a group called the Asian Power League, which, by the way, I just made this up. There's no such real organization. And he meets some beautiful lady and he gets romantic with her. But the villain and the leader of the gang finds this out and wants to kill him. He's drunk. And his cousin comes in and saves him. Well, one day he runs for president of the United States, Daniel, and listen to this. When he runs for president of the United States, he gets a phone call and they say, "We finally done it. We can get revenge for America. We can take it over. This will be the greatest leverage buyout. Thank God, man. This is what we do at the Asian Power League. What are you talking about? I mean, I'm U.S. president. He's elected. No, we swore you in. You never swore me in. Yeah, when you were drunk, we swore you in so they wouldn't kill you because you slept with the leader's wife. So he comes back around and now he has to fight on whether he's going to fight for the rights of America, the virtues and humanity, or is he going to make the billions of dollars and keep the pledge he made to evil, which was the gang? Find out by picking it up on Amazon or anywhere books are sold.
The way you left that perfectly, the greatest cliffhanger, I would say. That's amazing. Yeah, we'll have a look. We'll also link that in the description below as well. Get people to read it. Those that do love fiction books as well, but a lot of meaning inside of it, I assume and I expect as well. And I guess before we kind of leave off here, I did want to kind of wrap up and guess what's the one truth you want every young person listening to this. My audience is very young, in their mid-20s, trying to figure out life. Those that love sport as well, trying to get through those mental barriers and stuff. What wisdom can you offer all my listeners here?
People find silence. Slow the world down in meditation, in prayer, in silence. If it's when you're laying in bed at night, if you're driving your car alone, take a walk. Silence will bring the voice of God. If everything you're doing isn't working, if everything you're doing is so divine, never be too high, never be too low. The voices in between will navigate you like GPS. And GPS meaning, God, please allow me to serve you and my purpose. The true GPS.
It's amazing. It's a great way to end this one. Dr. Glenn Toby, thank you so much for coming in today, sharing your wisdom, giving us your story. Guys, please check out his website, which I'll link in below. It has all the information and details of what he does, his books, his music, his TED Talks, another one coming up, and another movie coming up as well. Very excited to kind of get into it more after this recording and sort of follow
That'll be
your
good.
journey continuing. And God bless you on that as well.
God bless
Hopefully,
you, brother. Wait a minute, Daniel. Don't forget, I'm also doing the dance show, the Global Dance Party, which comes on. It's dance music, R&B, soul, hip hop classics, um, remixes, house, and I'm there 8 p.m. Eastern time here in the States, every Saturday, and this is the show.
yeah, I love it.
So
I'll
we'll
make
be
sure.
live. The Global Dance Party. Only Daniel can bring you here to the United States of America while he's in Australia, bringing you the best of everything right here. Make sure you tune in on the Global Dance Party and stay plugged into this podcast. See you soon.
So that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in and being part of this community where we go beyond the game and into what really matters. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who sees sports just the way that we do. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on my social medias, which will be linked below. Send in your thoughts and even be part of a future episode. Until next time, keep that passion alive, stay in the huddle, and remember, it's always deeper than the game. Cheers.